Hello, welcome to my channel. Another bibliophile reads. My name is Greg, and this was the final week of Horror Mayhem, the brainchild of Scott and Becky, the bookish Bryants. Unfortunately, the Bryants could not be part of Horror Mayhem this year, but I and a host of other people took up that difference and have been creating a lot of good horror mayhem content. And the theme for the final week was contemporary horror. That's a little bit open for debate, the same way that classic horror was open for debate. People need to find their own definition. And what I used was authors that are currently writing and publishing. And I did not read any short stories for this week, but the books that I did read are relatively short, 250 pages or less, or thereabouts. The first book I finished was Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw, originally published in 2021. It is the story of young people going to Japan. One of the couples in this group is going to be getting married, and one of the other young men, who is very rich, has flown them all out to Japan to visit a haunted mansion. It's a little bit in a dilapidated state. He kinda has permission to visit this place. Maybe he's only pretending to have permission. It's not entirely clear. But in any case, this haunted mansion has a story. Of course, there is the story of a bride quite a while ago who died in unfortunate circumstances, and her body was buried inside of the house. And now this ghost bride kind of wants friends to join her buried in the house, or not necessarily friends before they died. So this group of young people go there to party and have fun until the ghost gets involved. Now, my main issue with this book is that even at novella length, it felt a little long. I think this story would have been better suited as a short story, maybe 50 pages long at the most. Or it could have possibly been fleshed out into a full-length novel and get the reader really steeped in this Japanese mythology and folklore. Because even though I've read a number of horror stories before, not all of them really get into the Japanese culture. And that's an unfortunate thing. I think it's a good place to delve into and get more information. But I came away from this book saying, it was fine. It was good. I enjoyed listening to this audiobook. I just wish it were shorter or more fleshed out. My second book was House of Windows by John Langan, published in 2017. It is the story of a college professor. He's in his 60s. He has always been known to have affairs with his pretty young students, until one year he decides to divorce his wife and marry one of his young students. The story is told from his second wife's perspective, and it starts out with the idea that the professor has disappeared. They don't know what's happened to him, and the wife is telling the story because she says, I know what happened to him. And she starts going back into what did happen. And the idea is that after they got married, his son from his earlier marriage had a confrontation with his father. They had a duke him out, drag him out, fisticuffs fight. and it ended really bad. The professor father disowned his son. Now, the son was in the military, and he was sent off to Afghanistan, where he died in combat. The father has second thoughts about his disowning his son. And then there are incidents where maybe the son is coming back as a ghost. Now, I really loved his second novel, The Fisherman. Unfortunately, House of Windows just didn't captivate me the way The Fisherman did. Perhaps it was just the week that I was reading it in. I started it over Memorial Day holiday, where I had lots of other obligations that I was supposed to do, and I just was not able to pick up that reading mantle and get into the story. So this, for me, was a DNF, unfortunately. I do want to read more of John Langan because, I said, I really loved The Fisherman. And I should give House of Windows another try sometime in the future. I think we need a cat interlude. For the third book I finished, I actually have to give it sort of a preface because it is a sequel, and I actually need to talk about the first book to get you to understand the sequel. And the first book was called The Black Farm by Elias Witherow, originally published in 2017. It is the story of Nick and his wife, although she might have been his girlfriend in the beginning of this book. Well, anyway, life is not going very well for them, and they both commit suicide. Nick wakes up in an afterlife. Apparently, there is a hell for all the bad people in the world, and there is a heaven for all the good people in the world. But suicides are the exception. They don't go to hell. They don't go to heaven. They go to this place called the Black Farm. The Black Farm is ruled by this monstrous beast known as the pig. And the pig gives birth to these half-human, half-monstrous creation called Pigborn. And the pig is served by people in this afterlife. Now, the thing about this afterlife is that you are fully flesh and blood. You can feel pain the way your flesh could feel pain in real life. And the pigborn and the servants that serve him and all the people in this afterlife love to inflict pain upon the suicidals. And this book is filled with some of the most grotesque and gruesome tortures that I have ever read in an extreme horror book. And one of the things about this afterlife in the Black Farm is that there is a way out of the Black Farm if you are willing to try it. You can feed yourself to the pig, and the pig will judge you good or bad. So that is the first book. I won't give away too many other spoilers, but that book is narrated in first person, so maybe there's an implied Spoiler right there. The second book is a follow-up to that one where Nick, and here comes a spoiler, I guess, has to commit suicide again to return to the Black Farm because during his escape in the first book, he did some damage to the Black Farm, and he's instructed by the angels of God to go fix that damage. So, Return to the Black Farm by Elias Witherow cannot be read as a standalone book. You absolutely have to read The Black Farm first because most of the characters introduced in this sequel you read about in the first book, and Nick's interaction with them in the first book subsequently has reactions in the second book. Now, I read this because A Bad is Rad 2 convinced me to read The Black Farm with her, sort of as a buddy read. And she did Return to the Black Farm as a buddy read with someone else, and she kept telling me, I really want to talk about this book with you because it has this really fantastic line at the end of the book. And she just wanted to talk about it and brag about how good this line was. And the line at the end of the book was pretty good. However, I think this was an unnecessary sequel. I didn't dislike it. I was able to get into this book much quicker than I was able to get into The House of Windows, even though The House of Windows, by a long shot, was better written than Return to the Black Farm. I was just more in a mood for something really sort of not too challenging. And that's what I got. If you enjoyed The Black Farm and want to try it, go ahead. You get a lot of the same in Return to the Black Farm, although its gruesomeness is toned down just a little bit. Okay, that is a wrap. Once again, I would like to thank Scott and Becky for creating this event. I would like to thank all my co-hosts for participating. Until next year, when Horror Mayhem will surely return. Thank you for watching, and keep on reading.